It's Thursday, the 26th of October, and I'm sitting here again on the beach. It's very windy morning today, and the waves are crashing in, and I was camped just over there somewhere. So I was hearing the wind and the waves crashing all night, which didn't bother me actually. I actually really liked it. And I'm just sitting here having a bit of a moment, reflecting on everything that's happened the last few months, how far I've come, and it's really not sure how to feel. Really, not sure how to feel. But I am a little bit hungover this morning because this place that I'm sitting at here, and actually at this table that I'm sitting at right now, we had a bit of a party here last night. So I was rolling in here at about 5 o'clock, a bit after in the afternoon, and was looking for somewhere to wild camp. I thought I may as well, it might be a while before I wild camp again, so I wanted to try and find one last good spot on the beach before heading into the city. But I just couldn't find anywhere. There was just nowhere good, and there wasn't really anywhere between here in Istanbul that I could find to stop. And there's a little puppy here. I'll see if I can. No, he's gone. So I just couldn't find anywhere to camp, and so I saw this restaurant or this cafe or whatever had quite a big block of land with some grass, and so I came down to the beach and I pushed my bike over, and then about here there was a bunch of guys cooking up a massive barbecue, frying what seemed like a whole flock of cows, herd of cows, and I just asked them, is it okay if I pitch my tent here? Like, have you got some room for me? And they didn't speak any English, of course, but there was one guy sitting like over here, and he came over and he translated for me, and the guy who was kind of in charge just said, yeah, all right, why not? And I asked if they wanted any money, and he said no, don't worry about it. So yeah, I ended up just camping here, and then as I was setting up my tent, they called me over, and they wanted me to come and have dinner with them. So at this table, or this group of tables here, there was probably about 15 of us, and we all had dinner, and they kept offering me meat, and I kept saying no, so they were very confused as to why I wasn't eating it, and I felt a bit bad, like I was tempted just to eat it, just to try and be a good guest, but no, I didn't. I'm glad I didn't have anything. So I was just having like salad and some bread and a few other things that they had cooked, which was really nice. And it was a bit awkward though, because I was just sitting there. I couldn't actually talk to anyone because no one spoke English, so they were all talking to each other in Turkish, and I was just kind of sitting there, just not really sure what was going on. And then the whiskey came out, and the raki came out, which is like a Turkish spirit, a white spirit, kind of like a rum, I guess. And everyone was drinking, everyone was smoking, and then the cook came over, and he works here, and he did speak a bit of English because he said he'd lived in Thailand for a while and other parts of the world. And he said, "Oh, you're very lucky because these guys, they come here only once a month, and you're just very lucky that you're here on the day that they're here." And then he actually told me that the guy who was in charge, he was actually one of the big bosses in the Turkish mafia in this area. So it was a bit of a mafia gathering actually. So there was quite a few pretty important people sitting at that table, and they kept calling people up and FaceTiming. At one point they were FaceTiming a guy who looked very much to me like a politician, who was sitting in like a big politician's office with a big nice desk, and he was wearing a suit and he had like flags and stuff behind his head. So I'm not sure who it was, but he looks pretty important, and they were joking and laughing along with him. Yeah, they were very, very friendly and very nice to me, and gave me lots to drink, even though we couldn't really talk to each other. But yeah, if they were in the mafia, they seemed like pretty good guys. So we ended up drinking for quite a while, and eventually around 10 o'clock I was pretty stuffed at that point, so I did go to bed. But they were very very welcoming the whole time, and they took, well, one of them asked for my Instagram, and he said, you know, when you go to Istanbul, let me know. We'll help you out. I'm not sure what that means, but it's good to have contact. So that was quite an amazing kind of celebration for me, actually, to kind of put a stamp on the end of the trip there, because yeah, today is most likely 99% sure the last day of this trip, because I'm only about 50 kilometers to Istanbul. So, you know, it's 9 o'clock now, and I could be there in a few hours. But yeah, I'll probably take my time and get there this afternoon sometime. But yeah, I'm very close, and it's just yeah, mind-boggling to think that the trip's going to be over very soon. It'll be about 8,500 kilometers that I've cycled from Norway across 2 continents and 17 countries, so I can't believe it. And yesterday was a bit of a strange day for me. Like in the morning, it started off quite well. I packed up my tent where I said I was going to camp on the beach, and that was fine. Like, no one bothered me. And pretty soon I was off the highway again, and then riding on some like dirt roads into farmlands, and then commute routed me like basically into a field. There wasn't even a road there, so I was just riding through the grass for a little bit, and I was like, oh god, this is getting hairy. Hopefully I can make it through without any more punctures and don't have to turn around and go back to the highway. And it was fine in the end. I made it through, and then eventually made it to the next kind of main city. I forget what it's called, but it started with an S, I think. And I was going to have lunch there, and then I was cycling around. There was like so many hills. It seemed like any direction I went, I was going up like a really steep hill, and I just wanted to try and find somewhere for lunch. And all the places I went to, they didn't have any vegetarian options. Like, it was only meat. And then I went to a few other places, and then the people serving, they just didn't speak English, and they didn't want to really have anything to do with me. So I was quite frustrated at this point. So I just pressed on and ended up going to another like a cafe down on the beach, which was actually really good. So I got like a huge, like, again, like cheese pied. Unfortunately, it seems like most of my food options here, as it was in the Balkans, is cheese and bread. So not exactly what I was hoping. I was expecting the food here in Turkey to be a bit more vegetarian friendly, but I'm not sure why I thought that. But yeah, I had a really good lunch, and then again, I was a little bit shocked about how expensive it was. I'm finding the pricing in Turkey to be quite inconsistent depending where you go. It seems to change a lot. But anyway, I was able to pay with the last amount of cash I had, and then I paid the rest on FPOS to the lady next door who was running a little market. So I guess her and the owner of the cafe had a little agreement going on, because he didn't have FPOS. And then yeah, I set off trying to find somewhere to camp. It was only about 4 o'clock, but I didn't want to go much further because then I would basically be in Istanbul. So I set off towards the beach looking for somewhere to camp. And throughout the whole day, really, I was feeling like quite weird about the idea of finishing, and I think it was for the first time I kind of realized that I was actually feeling quite scared about ending the trip, because it meant that I had to start making some actual decisions of what I was going to do with my life, and the idea of going back to living like a normal life and living in a city, potentially having to go to work, having to face cold, miserable weather, potentially in the UK, having to find work. I don't know, these things all seemed quite scary as they were bouncing around in my head yesterday as I was writing. I was feeling quite weird about the whole thing, and not really wanting to finish, but also not really wanting to keep going. And so eventually I found this little cafe on the beach, and I had a chai, and I just sat there and watched the waves as I kind of am doing now, and was just killing time really, because I didn't want to set up my tent because it was too early still. And there was a couple of guys at the cafe who took interest in my bike, and we started talking, like sort of using like Google Translate. So there was a couple of young guys there in their 20s, and a couple of older guys in their 30s and 40s, and they're all curious as to where I was going. And I said I might head to Iran after Turkey, and then they got very excited, and they grabbed a guy from Iran, and he came over, and he was nodding and nodding, but he also couldn't speak any English, and he had like really beautiful green eyes, which was quite unusual because he had dark skin and green eyes. I don't know, that really stuck out to me. But anyway, they were friendly. Again, like I tried to pay. I didn't have any money left because I spent it all having lunch, and then I tried to pay for the chai, and they were like, "Oh no, we only take cash." And I said, "I don't have any cash." So at that point, then they pulled the FPOS machine from behind the counter, so they just didn't want to use it, obviously. But yeah, they had it, cheeky bastards. But after that, basically, I came down. I was cycling around for a while, and then I found this place where I am now, and then had dinner with the mafia. So that's about where we got to. So, yeah. So I guess I'll do maybe one more of these videos once I arrive in Istanbul tonight or tomorrow morning. I'll record that video, and then after that I'm not sure. Let's get there, and then we'll see what happens after that. So I'll leave you at that. Thanks for listening to my ramblings. Bye.